I still got all the Star Pro stuff up here. Haven't taken it down because I haven't shot in a video. This might be, we'll see what the temperature does here shortly. It's started to warm up just ever so a little bit in New York. So it's been in the 40s and 50s this past week. I might be on my way back out to the barn for Thursday night live streams. We'll see. Yeah, I gotta get all this stuff. I gotta play with all this stuff. Play with all this stuff on camera. Well, housekeeping. Housekeeping. Oh, you flop your pillow. Hello. I did so Mr. Alan Cooper, Thunderstruck Racing. Check that out. I don't know how well. Can't really see it. It's gonna be pretty. Oh, here. Let's kill the light. Okay. Check that thing out. Isn't that rad? I got saw some lights up, and they got the Kart 63 behind me racing. Look how far left I'm sitting. Don't lean when you race. Do as I say, don't do as I do. What's going on? Plug that back in for fun. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I really appreciate that. It's super cool. What's going on? Not much. I am just chilling. Really looking forward to. I had to go out and record a video today for Sunday because I will not be here Saturday. I'm going to the JC Specialty open house down in Penn Street, Pennsylvania. So I won't have time to record a video, and my wife was making dinner, and so I went out and shot a quick video. Nothing super. I'll say nothing super good. It's a good topic. It's just I long for the days of being out in the barn and getting to work on stuff and getting to record me working on stuff. Like I need to put bearings and everything else. The picture you guys have seen of me redoing the Recon, giving it a fresh new paint. But I got all new bearings for that, and I want to get out and record that. But it's been way too cold here. Good evening, all. Yes. You're blind? Why? Am I that fugly? Did that last year. Interesting. But yeah. It's probably been 3 years, 4 years since I've been down to JC Special. Always just this time of year, you're still doing stuff. I don't want to say I'm doing stuff. Something came up last year. I had intended on going. Now my intent on this year is to go down to JC Specialties, and I'm hopefully going to get some footage of and I'm going to take. I think I'll take my mic. So you guys, I know everybody hasn't been overly impressed with this mic setup. It's because I just figured out what I was kind of doing wrong. Like I can up the level when I'm editing. I think it'll be better this week. Anyway, I have 2 mics, and if everybody's down for it, when I go down to JC Specialties, I'd like to hold my camera there and just say, hey, you mind describing what products you have, why you're here, this and that. We'll see how it goes. It's me recording videos, me spending time on my phone, even with you guys on Thursdays. It's still just me. I have to go out of my way to oh, that sign is bright. It is. Kabooyah! Yeah, that's serious. That's awesome. Yep. Yeah, oh, Penns Creek. That I really like that track. The D shape. I really like that, but I tell you what, it owes me a couple. And I say it owes me a couple. It was totally my fault both times that I thought I had a winning cart there, and then things just failed. I had a CDI poop out on me last time. I think clearly the fastest guy. I got DQ'd in the one heat race because a bumper piece fell off my, obviously the bumper. I was shedding parts, so they rightfully so DQ'd me for the heat race, kicked me off the track, so I had to start at the rear. But I was coming up through, and I got up to third, and my CDI took a poo on me. That was probably my best chance to get a win. There is what it is. Happens. Racing's racing. So I think Penn's Creek. Yep. Yeah, it's D shape. It's a lot of fun. You put Okay, just for instance, you put 10 coats of conditioner on week of race. How much would still be in the tire with 10 heat races in 2011? Oh, I don't think you'll burn through it at all. If you're doing 10 wipes, that's quite a bit. Uh and it depends on how potent the prep is. Track tack. I wipe pretty heavy, and I have wipes pretty heavy. I would say that especially that anywhere from I'd say 3 to 5 coats is gonna be more than enough in my opinion. I mean, you can wipe to your heart's content, I guess, but I wouldn't think that unless it's something super duper mild. But even that, like, I say mild, and somebody will say that Acrosol, just opening up the pores, just cleaning the tire, is a mild prep, but it isn't. You're drawing oils out of the tire, so it's everything's doing something to it. If you're wiping anything, if you wipe WD-40 on a tire, it is doing something to the rubber. But I would say that if you've been wiping all week long, say with a Maxxis or whatever it is, that 10 coats, I'm assuming that it's going to stay, whatever it is you're working with is going to stay throughout a night's race. Um, I normally recommend 3 to 4 coats, and that's fairly heavy, depending on what prep you're using. If you're using something, because track hack, if you're using something like Better and Go P, Topaz, SAA Grape, um, SST5, GK1 Blue, they are all fairly aggressive preps. Anywhere from the out of 1 to 10, anywhere from a 7 to a 10 on aggressiveness from track tack. And I'd say if you wipe your tire with any one of those products more than 4 or 5 wipes, you're really going to start to drop the durometer. But you're getting max penetration. You're gonna that anywhere from 3 to 4 wipes, I would guess, would last an entire night of racing. Maybe just something wiped at track to bring that in to fire off the tire. Just my opinion on that, though. Oh, very difficult. Uh, UAS races are extremely hard to win. Um, but there are fewer racers to beat. There are it's just the UAS class is niche. I'd like it not to be. I'd like to like it to be a lot bigger than it is, but it is. When we're not a sideshow, we like to think of ourselves as the show, but it's tough because you're outnumbered by the clone classes. But the there's a very big, not only the horsepower aspect of it, but the way you set up a cart, the way you drive a cart, everything else. With You have to rein in all that horsepower when you are a UAS driver. When you have an open engine, it is it makes the cart do things that a clone cart doesn't make it do. But on the adverse, or the other side of that, when you're running a clone, you have to maximize every bit of speed you have, because you're all so close in speed. I mean, it's nothing for a clone class to be all within 2 to 3 tenths of one another. That's first back to 15th. You're that close in speed that any mistake you made, any adjustment that you got off on, if you're off on tires, anything like that, if you miss gearing by a tooth, you could possibly be freight trained and to the back you go, or you could be a hero. It's a very different discipline, physically not as demanding to run a clone cart. As a matter of fact, the video Sunday is going to be about race shape and being in logging laps and being in race trim, so to speak, as far as your body. I think that's the one I'm going to go with. But the open, if you do not have your open set up correctly or even next to correctly, it is a lot to take. 20 laps will exhaust you no matter how great your cart is handling. You will sweat. You will be, there's a whole lot of G forces, there's a whole lot of acceleration and everything going on there. So, it, am I adapting to it? Yes. I think I was a fairly smooth UAS racer, so maybe not as super aggressive. I don't like pitching the cart. I don't like that sideways stuff. It's not. Can I do it? Sure. If it's necessary, do you do it? But I'm not a dirt modified driver or a sprint racer. I race carts, and I like to take a corner nice and round, set up the corner, everything else. So that kind of, I took that what I considered a smoother style in UAS and adapted it to clone racing. So it I think it went pretty good last year. I only got one win. There, arguably, I could have had another win, but I just rookie mistakes in the clone class, not being as aggressive when I should have been. It happens. uh, Tire tough mint. Best use. How much to use? I have a bottle. I'm not sure the use case. Okay, so tire tough mint, it the active chemical in tire tough mint is the active chemical that is in black sand, but there's more of it. It's an oil based prep, so it's got a lot of bite into it. Also, what tire tough mint will do is what I call locking the durometer. So it's not going to lock the durometer. You can still soften it, or it will eventually get harder, but it does make it the tough part of it. If you pick a durometer, say you soften down a Vega yellow to 40 durometer, and I wanted it to remain at that 40, but I wanted to add more bite to the tire. That's where track or tire tough mint would come in. Just wipe it from the outside. Now it is best if those tires set for 2 to 3 weeks. The longer it sets, the more absorption, because it's a heavier. If you ever pour it on a sponge or anything like it and wipe it on a tire, you notice it's thicker, and it takes a bit for uh, that the oils to penetrate into the tire. But it doesn't drop durometer ton if you allow it to set long enough, 2 to 3 weeks. It will come down a bit as it's penetrating, as it's doing its job. But as the 2 to 3 weeks come, the durometer should normalize back to where it once was, and then it's a bite adder, and then makes the tread of the tire a little more durable for whatever you put it on. Um, I've seen it. I've seen people use it down south, and that's it. Basically new tire. Scuff it up and then wipe that on. Wait a couple weeks, and it's going to add bite to the entire tire. So, yep. You can also mix it with stuff. I haven't done much of that. I've heard people wiping it at track. I think it's a waste of product. If you're gonna use, if you're looking for that type of thing, I would go with black sand and acrosol. I think that for the expense of tire tough mint, it's not worth wiping at track. People do all sorts of things, and they swear by it. They swear it works. I just think it's a waste product. That black sand is going to be your best bet. But if you were to thin something, if you wanted to thin up some tire tough mint, I wouldn't say that's a bad idea. Something like acrosol, 50-50 with that is gonna it's gonna hurry up the drying time, and it probably will work a bit like a black sand would at track. Would you ever try? It's on my bucket list. It really is. Every year I see that race go on, and I got race monitor, and I pay attention to the times. And I have a reason to go down there. My dad lives in Ocala. One of my best friends lives in Daytona, or just on the outskirts of Daytona. I have places to stay. So it's not like it's 18 hours, and then having the finances around that time, taking the time off, getting away from family and stuff like that. It's on my bucket list to come down. I think it's that from witnessing what that track does, I think that my skill set might be pretty good at because I'm on we don't have uber grip up here. I've always heard that yes, the track will take black, but it never gets locked down tight like a say a Carolina dirt fault type of scenario, and it loose, hard to get a hold of. I'm like, hey man, that's that sounds like a northern type track. But okay, please explain lockdown and prep. So it will bog you down. You have wiped too much, that it is now gripping too much into the racetrack and actually pulling the engine down and killing speed. So there is so much as there's too much bite. You don't. I think I did a video once upon a drift. It's being on the track or in the track. Now you want to, I think, in my opinion, you want a steady blend of both. Being on the track keeps you kind of light and fluffy, keeps the cart free, keeps you from getting bogged down in the corner. If you actually build too much bite, if you drop your durometer, or if you drop your durometer too much, if you lower your tire pressure too much, if you over prep, what you're going to do is you're again end up killing your rolling speed through the center of the corner. And if you hurt the center of the corner, you're going to hurt your straightaway speed because you're not carrying that momentum. Corner speed is king. Having an adequate amount of grip through the corner to accelerate you down the straightaway is ideal. If you overwipe, if you bog it down too much, you're going to hear your engine pull down. And once you pull down your engine, especially in a clone or something, it can happen in open. It's not as frequent. You got lots of ponies there to kind of free up. Just give it, just just make it go. But especially in clone, that's also rolling speed has something to do with it. If you're over wiping a tire, it's going to be gripping even down the straightaway. It's just going to be killing your rolling speed. Not as much as in the corner. You're just going to notice that locking down a cart, you're really going to notice that you get into the corner, it just feels exceptionally lazy off the corner. It's not tight, it's not loose, it's just kind of meh. You go wide back open and it just doesn't jump up off the corner like it should. So there's a balancing act. You want enough grip to adhere to the track, but you don't want to put so much grip in it that it can't. The chassis isn't allowed to do what the chassis was intended to do because the tires are just stuck to the ground. It does happen. It's I've seen it with my own eyes, felt it with my own eyes. Happened with the Yamaha a bit too. I over prepped some Yamaha tires one time, and just it's 18 horsepower give or take, and you could tell just by the pitch of the motor, it's like, ooh, I am in this track. When I was running a track with a running one set of tires for the night, or do you think that having 3 to 4 sets is better? I would say at least two. Can you run the entire night on one set? Absolutely. I did it with 11s. Well, I know you asked about 33s. Um, there are people that believe that every time you hit the track with a burst tire, that there's only a certain amount of good speed that's in a burst tire for the day. So theoretically, you're running one class, you have a practice, you have a heat race, and you have your feature, and that you should be on a brand new set, or a new set every time you hit the track. I don't mean brand new tires, just tires that haven't hit the track yet. Maybe ideally, I don't have that much experience with having a tire be that far off. I have seen, I would rather, if you were going to do it, if bring one good set, and then if it's working for you, just keep on running it. Would I think it's a bad idea to have a second burst set? Probably not, especially if by chance you're running more than one feature. I would highly suggest that. It's easier, and you're gonna have better speed. For instance, when I run like a double 40 down at AMS. I did this past year. Did I do double 20s? What I'm talking about is two different classes. So I ran, two 20 lap features, two 30 lap features, two 40 lap features, 50 lap, whatever. I think I did 50s. But anyway, I was on the same set of tires, and I can assure you I was giving up speed. It was not good. Ideally, you come in, you roll off of one feature, you got your next feature coming up, you would just pop that set of tires off, being, your other set be ready to go, staggered, etc. Pop on the new set of tires and just roll out and race them. I've heard, in that theory, if you ran double classes by the people who say you need a new set of bursts every time you hit the track, you'd have to have 6 sets, and I disagree with that. I don't think that's necessary. Especially, there's if you have the means to have that many tires, fantastic. For your regular Saturday night racer, or from a standpoint, if you're money racing and it's 5,000 to win, whatever, you better have fresh, brand new every single time you hit the track to maximize your chances at winning that money. Do I think it's necessary on a Saturday night race? No. Maybe if you're running for 500 to win, maybe if that brand or that newer set that you've been kind of saving, maybe it's time to put those on for the feature. Just that's my opinion on that. uh and what type of track would be the question he's asking. What's the best track tack product to add a lot of bite? If you're talking about a soft track, my suggestion is going to be better than GoP Red or Topaz. I know Topaz eventually is going to go away. There's a component in it that Randy Ransom, I think he was, last I talked to him anyway, said he was having a real hard time finding it for a reasonable price, and he wasn't going to pay what they wanted for it, which would just bring the cost to the consumer. But that's soft track, better than GoP. Topaz would be my two choices for a super soft wet type track. If you're talking about a hard fast track, then Black Sand is going to be my answer to that. I'm going to suggest ARC Racing for that. If you look up on, they have videos on here. ARC Kart Racing. He goes into exceptional description on Valve Lash. He is an engine guy. I am not. I could do it, but it's going to be kind of haphazardly because I'd be learning myself, and that's probably not a bad thing if I were to actually take the valve cover off and then watch his video on how to do it, and then kind of show you guys what I learned from it, type of thing. That may come down the line. I have my engine guy, so I asked him about it, and he says you're good. At least for 5 to 7 races or something. There are people that change valve springs every race. Yeah, I'm not an engine guy. I just run the darn thing. I understand more about 2 strokes than I do 4 stroke. So, but yes, ARC Racing. Check out his videos. Very in depth, very knowledgeable. Definitely somebody I trust in knowing that type of stuff. I run 33 mandatory. We have 2 carts. Yep, yep. 33 mandatory. I have 2 cars and usable sets of tires. Yes, yep. More tires is not a bad thing. I think that if you I love this term. I just can't use it on this channel. You urinate with the stuff you have. You pee with the what God gave you. If your only option is 1 set of tires, and if your only option is 2 sets of tires, then you work with what you got. It's perfectly fine. Make do, make adjustments. You're going to have to sometimes work a little harder for it on setup, on driving style, if you're working with less sets. Like new tires and prep are not the always the ticket. Sometimes your setup can beat that. I got beat the last race by straight up tires. Nothing wiped on them whatsoever. Sometimes it just is in setup. Sometimes you hit the tire choice, the stagger, the setup is just perfect. So there's it's not he's in New Zealand. Oh, for a dirt road course, man. He's in New Zealand. Whoo. Ah, I would guess. I would guess something like black sand would, if it's that dry loose stuff. Because I would assume that getting the durometer too low would not be a great idea. But that's I've been wrong before, and sometimes people they'll wipe heavy chemicals on a real dry track. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it works. Sometimes it works. There have been people that were wiping SAA grape at on a 90-degree day, and I'm like, like it's not something I do, but it worked for them. So who am I to tell you not to? It's knock yourself out. No, no. So Donald, I should clarify that when it's yes, it's always a goat tire, but when typically when people start wiping goat on tires, they wipe goat on tires. And if you're I've done it before. I have a softer set, or I did have a softer set of SS33s that I like to blend if I have a goat at the time. I like to blend SAA or I'm sorry, Byron Goat Pea and goat because it may take a little of the effectiveness of the goat out of it, but it makes it not as brutal to the tire. If you're wipe, if you're going at a set of tires with goat to make to drop the durometer, get all the bite you can do, those tires eventually are going to dry out. It's just what goat does. It is going to what makes that tire fast because of what goat's doing to it is eventually going to destroy all the oils in the tire. Once the durometer starts to go up, you're going to have a darned of a time trying to get it to come back down, and eventually that tire is going to lose all its grip because of all the oils have just kind of gone away out of the tire. So I wouldn't say, if you just occasionally are wiping a little goat on your tire, you're not going to absolutely kill the tire. It's technically a goat tire, but it's not. When I reference a goat tire, I mean goat. I'm just like I want bite and I want bite now. That type of attitude of wiping, which is very real in UAS racing. uh, yeah, no, but no other prep. Yeah, other preps absolutely work, and you can even if a tire's been treated with goat, I would say that firing off the tire with another prep is absolutely a great idea. Not only are you going to bring the tire in a lot quicker, but something like say a better and go P or uh, tire tough mint that got mentioned earlier is actually going to bring oils back into that tire and maybe preserve its life for a little bit longer. One of the things that I that video that went viral, I really hate that term, but they talk about, oh, you're killed all your tire life, and it's just like, man, it's about being fast. It's not about the longevity. If I can win a race and it costs me a set of tires, sometimes it's worth it. So okay, yeah, that's a good point. If you only have one set of one set of burrs 33s, um, using goat is not the best idea. I mean, if it's got to be done, if it's all you can afford, though, I would really try and use chemicals such as track tag that aren't going to murder the tire. You can get a real good result out of better than goat pea, or a real good result out of topaz. I think topaz is the closest thing that track tag has to goat pea, but it's not going to absolutely disintegrate the tire eventually. But yeah, that's a good point. Hey man, I have a Bama 250. I'm getting high access to. Have you ever had that issue? My carb settings are open to the max. Really? Some my buddy Tommy and I bannered about this. Now he didn't have a Bama; he had a home built CR 250, and he always had excessive exhaust temps compared to mine. My exhaust temps averaged anywhere on the Bama from, I want to say, about 700 uh up to 850 degrees. I always shot for keeping it you know uh, below or at 900. If it was a real hot day and you were just getting all you could get out of the Bama, I usually ran around 900 degrees. Sometimes I'd see 950, and I knew I was really getting lean then. But his always registered way higher. his always registered into the 1,000. And I was like, I'm pretty sure my piston would melt down if I put it into the thousands. Um, it just seems. I might suggest this if you're having a problem with cooling, uh, and you feel as if you can run a little longer flex. Say if you're, I don't know how long you're running your flex or what RPM you're turning your Bama, but I believe that 1250 or I'm sorry, 1250. Yeah, it's 1250. 12 and a half inches is about as short as I go for my flex. Um, I can tell you that if you run like a 13 and a half, you're going to have a hard time pulling over 10,000 RPM. So basically, I like to run somewhere in the 12 and 3/4 to 13 inches of flex. And it that the longer flex you run, it will bring your RPM range down. It's gonna healthy up your bottom end. It is also going to pull more fuel into the motor to cool the engine down, and also off throttle time is good. Think so you're say if you got duals, and as soon as you slam uh, the butterfly shut, a bunch of fuel is going to rush into the engine and cool it into the corner. So um, you know, try that. Yeah, with the Bama. Okay. Very welcome. What's happening, brother? How much? I'm just doing some live streaming here. I hope this is with you. Guys, bring the temp down a bit if you're on alky, your needles are full open, you're running wide open. Mm-hmm. Yep. The also I don't know what kind of oil mixture you're running. Um, I always like 8 ounces to a gallon of like Blendzall Green Label, something like that. There's also if you're running Gold Label, uh, what was that? What was the mix for that? Was it 16 ounces? No, shoot, 8 ounces a gallon of Green Label. Yeah, 16 ounces plus 2 ounces. I think it was 16 ounces of Gold Label. So that's got the Panther P in it, octane boost. But then you add two more to equal out the caster in it. The Power Plus has a really good. There's a bunch of good oils out there. Not saying that oil should be used for cooling, but if you're not running enough oil, it can bring excessive temps into your engine. Just something to pay attention to. Uh, say like a 12 years. Some guys talk like they need more teeth, more torque, offers faster gear. So in general, uh, 12 driver is going to excel at the end of the straightaway better. You're going to pull your torque. It is going to change the torque ratio a little bit of the engine, but more so, it's just going to, the way the RPMs work, that the 12 driver is going to pull way better into the corner than it is out of the corner. If you run an 11 driver, it's going to jump up off the corner. But I think, was it last week, the video? I think I did a video on it, and I think it was last week. I don't know. I got like 400 videos. There's a lot of them. And sometimes I do a subject and I get done recording and I'm just like, did I already do this subject? It's possible over the past, whatever 5 years I've been running this channel. It's very possible that they're going to kind of get over one another. But in general, um, pull. My suggestion is as long as you're not hurting your bottom end, as long as you don't feel as if when if you're going off a restart or a start or a restart or whatever, if you don't feel as if you're getting absolutely murdered off a restart, pull the bigger tooth on the clutch. You're going to keep that momentum up. I'm not saying run, a huge driver, to where you're gonna get killed and then, hope that momentum, hope it goes green to catch the people. But I think that if you can spare a tooth on the front driver, you can do it. They're not spare, but gain a tooth on the front driver, do it because it will help getting into the next corner. And if you can maintain your corner speed, it's just going to help all around. Smaller drivers are great; they jump up off the corner, but you're going to find if somebody does get a run at you and say they have a 12 tooth versus your 11 tooth. Yours may just get right out of the corner okay, but if they have a good line on you, when your motor's starting to peter out at the end of the straightaway, getting in the turn, theirs is really coming on. They're going to be able to take that position from you. But is the same. So it is a preference, but I think that, like for instance, I have a AMS, the little track that I run. Um, you have people that swear by having a 10 driver on theirs because it gets out of the corner so well. I run an 11 driver, and I think that uh, there you can even run the same lap time, but one feels faster than the other. You feel as if you're holding better corner speed because you're entering the corner so much faster. And I think that just go with as big of a driver as you can. Not saying that the smaller driver is a bad thing, but I just think that carrying that momentum into the corner is going to be more useful than the jump out of the corner. But that's it's a lot to do with driving style and how you want to attack the corner. Different motors in each class. I do plan on doing it. I need to get more information on the Ducar motor. I don't know enough about them yet. I know it's essentially a clone. And also, so now there's Tillotson blocks for the clones. There's in what's legal, what's not legal. There's a whole ball of wax there. And then I do need to brush up my knowledge on it. But yes, I would like if you somebody were to say to me, "Oh, I'm running hobby stock," I think it's predator class, but that's all about it. So I just started dipping my toes into the clone world. So from UAS, so it's gonna uh, it's gonna take me a minute to learn. As soon as I learn more about it, as soon as I feel as if I can give a really good explanation to something, I'll definitely do it. But yeah, it's tough. There's different variation. Then you got the Predator Ghost, and what that all comes with. What modifications. I watched a video. Shoot, what was his name? I just commented on his video. But they're another Kart channel. It does vlog style. And he was mentioning that the Predator is the most cheated up class there is. And I thought, really? See, I was under the impression there wasn't, but it does make sense. It does make sense that you would try and get away with more because of what little horsepower you're dealing with there. Now there might be an RPM rule, but if you can get in there and you can just, I'm not condoning cheating whatsoever, but we know what happens. We are racers. This racing, there's cheating going on. And if you can massage something, if you can touch something, if you can do this, if you can find a way to just get a little more horsepower out of something like a Predator, that would give you the advantage. Why am I drawing a blank? I had it. It was right on the tip of my tongue. I want to say Hamilton Racing. That could be wrong. I don't want to insult the guy. It was very good. Alex Hamilton. That's yeah. He turned 36 RPM too many. Got DQ'd. Oh, oh man, what a bummer. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was Alex Hamilton. They're a really enjoyable channel. I'm all about support on this channel. Shoot. I- If you ever meet me, this is it's not on live. It's that I draw blanks on names and stuff. Super Duper South, Degenerate Garage, two awesome channels. ARC Racing, I mentioned earlier. Alex Hamilton. If you like kart racing, support them all. It's I think spreading the wealth. There's more than enough racers. I love the fact that people are getting onto social media more as far as karting goes. It's a great way to grow our sport. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy it. He looked fast, man. I was like, oh, you got him. And then it was just like, it's a Predator. So it's, you only have so much horsepower there that you really have to line it up right. And his vantage point was messing with me a little. It's just like you need to scooch up. But I think I was, his camera's on the left fender. So he is up, but my brain's just like, you need to arc that corner more. But it's just like, I bet you his tires are right on the edge of the track, looking for that run. You know, G Dog YouTube is cool. He started from a very awesome. Yes, absolutely. I really do need to get I should probably put out maybe I'll put out if I think of it anyway, a community thing on here, a note and say, hey, drop in the comments, tag uh, the link to whoever site, and then maybe I can post something or pin it. Whereas we can get like a list of different karting um, YouTube sites, just so people can have an access point. That'd be pretty kind of fun to do it. For my good too, that I could subscribe to them and then have them in my feed, because I'm sure there's people that I'm missing that you guys get to watch. Starting to make Yeah. Yeah, the contents. Who's that? Degenerate Garage. He was just talking to me the other day, and talking about how I'm a little more versed in the talking to the camera type thing. And I sent him. I'll drop it. Maybe I'll put a link to that too. My very first beard product review. It was for a brand called Ruddy Man Grooming, who's still around. Makes absolutely fantastic products. But hey everybody, this is the oil. It is really good, and there's a little quip in there or whatever, but it's not this. It's I mean, it's like watching paint dry. It's cringy, man. Like it's still me, but it's pretty. When you are uncomfortable behind the camera, having a conversation, talking to people, in this kind of scenario, it's very it's, it's difficult to get over. But I was kind of explaining it. It really is. It's just a time thing. If you're ever considering doing this stuff, if you're ever considering creating, kart racing content, just know that you think more about what you're doing than other people do. And I try and tell my kids this all the time. Like, you think everybody's staring at you, and it's not in any egotistical way. You just think that, like, oh my god, don't look at me, oh, I look horrible. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. They, matter of fact, they enjoy that you're there. They enjoy the fact that you're out and doing stuff. And that's all I can relay to people is this: you don't have to be that skittish. I mean, I'm ridiculous. I say ridiculous things. Maybe not in my content form. I try not to be too outlandish, but I say things that most people probably shouldn't say. And nobody cares. Just be you, man. I would rather, even if you have quirks about you, even if they're something that I disagree with, I'd rather you be authentic. I'd rather you be you and me be like, hey, I'll take that, man. It's maybe not my cup of tea, but I'd rather see that. I'd rather see you be you rather than try and be somebody else, or just know that you're your own critic worse than other people are. And those who speak up and say stupid stuff, just it's not worth it. They make zero difference to me. I've been insulted plenty of times. I'm like, cool, I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it is. Uh, it's a mental thing. It really is. Like, it is. Recording videos, like you guys, who don't do it, you have to watch and know that this is just my phone. Like, this is it. I got some skeletons over here, like from Halloween. I got this. There's torn apart room. There's an old TV here, but it's me and a cell phone, and I have to you have to work through that you're having a conversation with other people and pretend this is other people. Now it's obviously there's no other people. It's just your cell phone, but you can change the way you think, and having that conversation with somebody that isn't there. It's weird, but it makes sense, and there's a comfortability. I can't say that word because it's just me and my phone. I'm not scared to say it. I'm not scared to put it out there. And then once I put it, then you put it out into the world. That's when the feelings start. Oh man, I hope I didn't say anything off, out of pocket too bad. But yeah, I had a real hard time. He's asking, do you stay away from certain foods and during race day or uh, I had the hardest time eating for a long time racing. And up until past couple years, butterflies every single time. It didn't matter. Once my wheels touched the track, I was fine. It's game time. Flip the switch. All right, it's time to race. It's time to do this. But it really messed with me eating at track. I don't really have that problem anymore. My only suggestion is keep hydrated no matter what. And Gatorade, Propel, something with electrolytes. If you're not able to consume anything, if you're nervous like I was, I would just say keep yourself hydrated. That's probably the best bet. But I don't know that I eat like when I go on race trips, I eat like trash. So I'm not going to give anybody any you know pointers on that. Like I love gas station food, sheets, dude, greasy fried foods, so good. Have ever really found a problem with it? No. I would probably not go crazy with energy drinks. I often because I work out. I often thought what it would be like to use pre-workout before a race, but then like there's citrulline in it, so it helps blood flow, which sounds like a good thing, but it also pumps your muscles full of blood. And I thought, well, don't lock your arms up. That'd be terrible. That'd be a bad idea. So I haven't done it yet. But the energy drinks may or may not be a great idea. I just biggest thing, stay hydrated. Um, you know, just your carbs. Carbs are the carbs are energy. Sugars are energy. They're just a fast use energy. So keep in mind that don't eat like complete garbage. Try and keep your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates even as best you can. Too many carbs, you might spike in the middle of a race and then raise your heart rate and run right through them, and then you're gonna be gassed for the rest of the run. But I'm not. I'm not. I'm a amateur physical fitness enthusiast. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Yeah. I don't eat it all at the track. Water only, Gatorade. Yep. That's I have like I won't say I've ever been diabetic. Like I've never been, blood test or anything like that, but I've had this sensation like, low blood sugar. I just feel off. And the only thing that gets me back to feeling correct, despite it's happened a couple times at track. I don't know if it's nerves, if it is in fact, a poor nutrition type of thing, but Gatorade, something with electrolytes, something that, something um, with some calories in it seem to help. Gatorade, straight up Gatorade is it's tough with like Gatorade Zero, Propel, stuff like that because it doesn't have any calories at all. um I don't know. It was tough for me to eat at the track a long time ago. I'm older now. I'm also fatter, so uh the I don't have a belly for no reason. I like hot dogs and burgers and stuff like that. When going to tracks, test day scales. Um, it's a really good idea to bring the scales if you're going to test. If your specific intent is to gain speed or work on setup, now there you're going to lose something. A race day track is not going to be like a test day track. Now, if you're going purely to test on a race day, say you go a Saturday night, you have no intention of running for points, running for money. You have no intent of winning that night. Your intent is to scuff tires, is to work on setup, is to work on driving. I absolutely would break. If you are going to test for that night and you want to mess with stuff, scales is an awesome idea. I've never brought scales with me to the track. Now, what I have done is I've scaled before the track. Here's my setup. Here's my everything. I'm running these certain staggers and everything like that. I've gone and run. I've made adjustments to get the cart closer to where I want it. You run the feature. Hey, this is how I did. It fell off here. Take all these scenarios in it. You can write them all down if you like. Come back, scale again. Leave those scales set up, or just set them back up and scale again, and then compare notes to what you left with and what you came back after adjustments. Make notes of what the track did, stuff like that. You can be super detailed in gaining performance. Do I do that? No. I'm a loose nut. Well, it's a my program is real loose. I'm a real feel type driver. Like I don't hit my marks. It's a feel thing. I've always been like that. I don't know, I know what hitting your marks is, but I don't do it. So it's scaling is kind of the same way. I go with a setting. I know where I'm at, and then adjust accordingly. And then if I really like where I ended up for that particular night, how that track was, rescale, no, and write those numbers down. Hey, this was, and I have done that. I have rescaled and been like, the cart was super happy with this setting on. Then I go, if I'm traveling different tracks, I can go back to those notes and say, hey, this really liked, 58 cross instead of 63 cross or whatever it may be. Knowledge is power. Information is power. It's probably something I should do. I've been barked at it for years. I don't. I have a lot of data going on up here. I know what has worked in the past. Doesn't always work, but I can throw stuff at it. Hey, did this work? It's just it's up in here. Just there's something about me that's lazy. I don't write stuff down. It used to Walt, my cart partner there, used to drive him nuts. Write it down. I got it. I got it, dude. Uh, you fit your videos on other cart YouTube. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I'd consider that. So this I like what Ultimate Cart Media is doing, bringing in racers. On they're doing Tuesdays now. They were Wednesdays. I think they moved it to Tuesdays, but it's kind of loose. Whether maybe they moved it to Tuesdays and I missed it. But they've been having, so I think they had Chase Williamson on. That was pretty cool. Also the Four Takes and Fuel guys, they like to have guys on their podcast. That's really cool. But yeah, I think that there's room, there's possibility, there's it's just I've never been approached by it, and I don't like bugging people. But having somebody like on this, it's probably a good idea. I don't want it to be an interview type scenario. I'm not an interviewer. I like conversations. You want to talk about racing, you want to bring stuff up. Cool. Let's banter back and forth type of scenario. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. That would be pretty cool. It's been in my head to do something. It's just I don't like to bother people. I I'll do for myself before I ask anybody else. That's my wife. I give my wife crap all the time. I have an electric cart stand, and I can start not only my open but my clone by myself. So I am self sufficient to the max. I don't know what it would be if I always had a team with me, pushing my buggy, cleaning my tires. I don't know what I'd do with myself. I'd probably pull my hair out. What little I have left. Well, it's good. I was thinking of ideas to talk about this live, and I was like, oh man, I didn't have a ton to talk about, but you guys have not. You have done wonderful. Uh, yes. So what I was saying in the beginning before everybody got in here, uh, temps finally getting regular in New York here. 40. I know I'll say this: 40 or 50 degrees. It's t-shirt weather for New Yorkers after a long winter, but we might be taking this, back out into the barn, taking the lives out in the barn as soon as I can tolerate the temperature out there. But also, it'll be nice to. I got to get back to shooting videos out there. It. I don't mind doing the talking, theory type of videos, and I'll continue to do it as long as I have to. But I really like to be hands on. I like to, when I'm talking about something, putting bearings in a hub or whatever, I like to show that type of footage. So it's, I can't wait to get back out in the barn and actually get some work done. I got to do some. I kind of look forward to, the springtime hoedown because I clean everything out, I get everything all set and nice and pretty, and then I make a friggin' mess out of it. Tools to use for. I have just a little. I've been gonna do that too. That is on my. It's. I have. You should see this list of video ideas I have, and they could be anything. Just random thoughts I have during the day. Pop them in there. But one of them is what tools to take to the track with you. If you're a new kart racer and you have no idea, you're going to need, socket set. I like to have 3/8 and quarter inch with me. I like to have. You got to have Allen keys. Absolute must have. They're definitely um, they're definitely similar tools between whatever manufacturer chassis you're running, similar tools to get a cart apart, to change an engine, to change a clutch, to do this and that. That's the tools for karting will be a future video. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I have a little toolbox. Nothing special at the wall or something like that. And just some basic tools. I can tell you that I used to, when I run the open, primarily had the open stuff. I brought a lot more stuff with me. I think that it's almost a trade off. So I would argue that running clone, you would bring more tires than tools. When you run an open, you're bringing more. You're still bringing quite a few tires, but you better have your tools on hand because keeping an open running, keeping it in peak shape, keeping it from going nuclear on you is a full time job. I don't want to say I'm bored at the track with the clone, but I'm used to having to deal with the engine a lot more, the maintenance of the engine, making sure everything is absolutely on point because the temperamental opens are temperamental. That's one thing. If you guys are considering getting into open racing, they can be buggers. They can really be a thorn in your side, and you spend the entire time. The Grand National in 2023, for whatever godforsaken reason, I was throwing chains. Never happened before, but it just that day I was throwing chains left and right at Understown. I spent zero time working on hand dealing. I spent zero time working on tires. It was trying to keep that stupid chain on for whatever reason. It held on for qualifying, no problem. It held on for the B main, no problem. But that was after the damage had been done. I couldn't work on handling. It's just when you run an open, I just want to put that out there into the world. That is, they're a riot. They are so much fun. They're also a pain to work on sometimes. Sometimes they do stuff and you have no idea why they do it. What's going on, Bill? Hell. Yeah, yeah. Ohio and New York are like two peas in a pod, man. They're ah, that's the Northwest is a lot too. When I got to meet a bunch of our UAS people from the Northeast, it was it's similar plane across the globe there. That they're cold, type of just bogus type. It's like sometimes I just want to move south. Okay. Yes, yeah, I agree. I don't. I have a concrete floor. My barn is not heated. Um, and it's a concrete floor, and that concrete floor, it's awesome in the summer because it holds the cool air. So when I go into work in the garage in the summer, it's nice and cool in the barn. A little fan, perfect. But in the winter, that concrete gets frozen, and your feet are the tips of your fingers. Obviously, you're touching cold metal stuff, and just the cold like radiates through your feet. It's friggin' terrible. Oh yeah, I have a propane heater out there, and uh, I'm not interested. It's just I'll wait till it warms up. Having different rules at different ages to have a Dakar and a Predator. Uh Depends on your budget. Yeah, it's not as easy to flip flop engines. I mean, if that's what you're asking, like, I would just concentrate on one class. That would be my idea. If you have, the option of just one engine package for whatever class it is, find a track that you like and go with the one engine package. Trust me, it's tough now that I have the open and the clone. I considered running both at the same time, and it's like, oh my goodness. And as far as if you were trying to change engines in between races, that would be a no can do in my book. You would axle line, you would have to be very, your rear gear axle alignment. You'd have to make sure that's. But is it possible? Absolutely. Uh, but I'm assuming that between Predator or Clone or Dakar, your setup might be a little different. Gearing, you're going to have to mess with that. I would I would just preference just run. Like right now, I either run the Clone or I run the open. Maybe if I, like John's race at AMS this year, it's such a long day. I'll probably take the Clone and the open. Um, just so I have something to do all day long. At least I have something to work on because last year I think I ran two classes there too, but it was just such a long day. You guys may have been to those bigger races where money's on the line, and it makes for a full day. You're there to all hours of the night, and I think if I had the open, it would at least give me something to work on in between. Because aside from tires, time's it going to be? Oh, we're over an hour, so how do you get a kid mentally ready to race? Uh, I'm not sure that kids are going to be kids. You see it at the track all the time, and keeping them focused is going to be a tall order because they get off the track, they did the racing thing. Okay, Dad's going to work on the cart. Dad's going to work on the tires. I'm going to go over here and play football with my friends. Now it's not a bad thing. They get to hang out with their friends. They get to it's still a great time. I'm glad that kids are that go to the tracks are out not on their phones, just like being with one another, being kids again. I absolutely love that aspect, but you're going to have quite a disciplined kid in order to ignore all that and learn the cart stuff. All I can say is just keep trying. If he's going to be old enough to race, you know, feel it out and see how much they enjoy the sport. But once they're at track, I'm telling you, once they're around other kids, unless they're not into hanging out with other kids, it's you see them go for around and doing stuff, and it's just they pull it in, and then Dad starts working that cart, and they're off doing whatever. Um, it's tough. It's going to be a battle as they get more experience. As if you can get them into where they're running up front, where it really makes a difference. Like, hey, you got to be on point here. I just highly, I'm not would never assume that you'd be this way. Don't be that dad that's barking at his kid, screaming at his kid. That infuriates me. It's supposed to be fun. I am as competitive as anybody on the planet. Trust me, I've been in more than one argument with people at the track because I stuck my nose where it shouldn't have been. But it's don't be that guy. Don't be that guy screaming at his kid. But that's make it as fun as possible. Try and if you the learning experience. It is a lot of work to maintain a cart. It is a lot of work to get things right, get set up, and get them to understand what tight is, what loose is, all this stuff. But if you can do your best to make it as fun as possible, that's my best suggestion. Really almost like if they make a decision on a change and you let them know that that was their decision and it either got better or worse, hopefully better. If it got better, and be like, you did that, you made that decision, you said you needed a little more free. I suggested the thing to make it a little more free. You did that. You made that cart faster. That might inspire them to be more engaged. But uh, we do on money races. Yes, I'd say I don't know what the parameters are. John's at least. I've run a money race. I didn't do well enough to get torn down, but I know that any kind of money race, if it's $200, $300, $500, whatever it is, down at AMS, they do tack on clones. I'm sure I plan on going to Weedsport in April. That's the plan. If everything's together and ready to go, um, I'm positive that they're going to do teardowns for top three or whatever. But I've sat in tech. I finished second. It was a money race. It was 300 to win or something like that. I sat in tech all night waiting to get torn down. Yep, absolutely. I absolutely agree. Yep, kids will be kids, and honestly, it's you let kids be kids. If that makes the experience great for them, if they can race and have fun with their friends, I'm all for it. That's my yeah. I had a good crowd tonight. My wife does that. She's just like, how many people get on there? I was like, anywhere from usually 20 to I don't know 40 ish. She was just like 40 people listen to you talk, and I'm like, you gotta listen to it every day. These people actually show up to listen to me. She 30 years with her. She's over me. Not really, but it's just uh last year we had a dad. Yeah, no, yeah, it's tough because as a dad seeing another dad, uh yeah, I'm not afraid of discipline. I am not, that my kids are older now. I mean, I speak of that. My son's my youngest. He's 19. My daughter's going to be 23 this year. Um, but I'm not afraid of discipline, but there's also etiquette to that. Being a disciplinary and screaming at your kid for doing something stupid on the track or goofing up or not, absolutely not. It's tough because it triggers your dad nerve that you want to correct the dad for doing that because I wouldn't ever treat my kid like that. Eh, personal preference, but all right. It has been 67. Remember, right? Made the move to the scythe, right? I have the scythe, the open. I won a few races on the scythe with the open. Um, it very good. I think it comparative to the recon. If I were to break it down for you, I think that the scythe gets into the corner better than the recon does. The recon gets off the corner better than the scythe does. Personal preference. I the they both similar. I'd say the scythe is does it have more raw speed in it? Maybe. The Deuce had raw speed in it. I don't have the Deuce anymore. The Deuce had a really good raw speed in it. Very small tire window. I'd say that the Scythe tire window is smaller than the Recon's, but they're you're kind of splitting hairs with the Scythe and the Recon. I did run the Recon all last year with the clone, and I think I think the Recon suits me better than the Scythe does, but the Scythe was not. I think thought the Scythe was a little lazy off the corner, at least with the open. That's it's tough for me to tell somebody if anybody's running a clone with it, what it's going to do with the clone. I have not run the Scythe with the clone, although I have the pieces have a scythe and they have sold scythes and gotten them rolling really really well with the clone on it. So far be it for me to say that they won't work with a clone on it. I just personal preference. I'd take a recon over a scythe, but the scythe is in no way bad. I still have one. It's a 21. It has the open on it right now. So yeah, yeah. Fuzz check reacher. I love that scene when he's in the cell there. I'm talking to you, fatso. Yeah, but all right, guys, it has been over an hour. Holy shit! Yep, holy smokes! See, I don't swear on this channel. But yeah, I uh, I will catch you guys. I'm going to JC Specialty on Saturday, so hopefully I'm going to get footage of that, and then video coming Sunday. It's probably going to be on race shape, as in logging laps. Um, being in race shape and stuff like that. I think that's what I'm going with. I recorded it earlier. I have to watch it back, make sure it's, I'm okay with what I said. It's, that does happen occasionally. I will reshoot a video if I'm like, ooh, where were you going with that idea, buddy? But all right, guys. Yes, I will. I'll see you next week for another live, and hope you enjoy the video Sunday. So later.